Hey guys, it's Andrea, the South African girl living in Canada. Today I'm at the Oakville Crusaders Rugby Club in Oakville, and I know you guys want to hear about rugby. I've had lots of questions. Can you play rugby in Canada? Is rugby alive? And it definitely is. So welcome Kevin Brenders. Kevin is the director of junior rugby at the Oakville Crusaders Club. Thanks so much for having me here today.
Andrea, this is great. I look forward to it. This is going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's amazing. So I think what would be interesting for me, Kevin, is how did you get involved with rugby? What is your experience with rugby, and how did you come to the Crusaders Club?
Well, my sporting background was actually growing up was primarily soccer. That was a big sport around here, and also high school football. And I was playing football, enjoying that. But a friend suggested I try rugby, and I was instantly hooked. It was a great opportunity to run with the ball as well as to tackle people. So I liked that aspect of it.
Yeah.
And this friend of mine suggested I come down to the Crusaders and check it out and give it a go. At first, I was worried. Well, I've never played. You know, will there be tryouts? Will I make a team?
Yeah.
He said, no, that's not how they operate. You come on down, they'll teach you how to play rugby, you'll have a great time. And instantly I was hooked, and spent the next 16 years playing senior grade rugby here at the Crusaders. Had a great time doing it, and being a junior director gives me a chance to stay involved and give back a bit.
Yeah. So this amazing little rugby club has over 700 members. So Kevin, it's very exciting. I know that it's professionally run, a very busy club. Tell us more about it.
We're here at the club in January, which is our only quiet time of the year. So yeah, you're right. It's a very busy club from the beginning of February all the way through to Christmas time.
Okay.
So we offer programming almost 12 months of the year.
Okay.
We're really focused on kids rugby, mini rugby. So lots of junior programs, clinics, etc. We also have a very competitive senior program for men and women. So we have a lot of fun here. It's a great spot to spend time.
Cool, that's amazing. You know what I love is when you get here and you see all the fields are busy. How many fields are there?
So great question. We have 3 full international size fields, plus we have 2 mini fields that kids run around on. So it's a 27-acre park. Includes the fields, includes a clubhouse, includes a little bit of a garden where people can relax, picnic, those types of things. We have walking trails, and it's really just a great place to spend time, not only in the winter, but obviously in the summer when we play our rugby.
Yeah, I actually remember coming here in the summer and I saw coyotes. There's actually a lot of wildlife out here.
Yeah.
It's actually, for me, I was quite scared. And you'll notice when you come here, they've actually got a special area for all of their garbage bins because the wildlife gets into it. So there's a lot of management and time that goes into this club. I've been here in the summer where they've got these outdoor tables with umbrellas, families, kids. It's a family thing, right?
It really, really is. So we want to foster a reputation as a club where we can develop rugby players to reach whatever level of rugby that they want to aspire to. But we also want to have a reputation as a great family club, a great place for families to spend time together and with each other. Yeah. So we work very, very hard on that. We do a lot of special events throughout the year.
Amazing. How long has the club been going for?
The club's been around since 1968, and we've been on this particular property since the late 80s.
Wow.
And we're really quite well established.
Yeah, amazing. Guys, you will love the fact that they have a braai, 2 or 3 outside, a barbecue, proper Weber's. They've got swings for kids, so it's really amazing. I'm sure you want to find out how your kids can get involved. How do you join the club? What is required of you? Kevin, help me there.
Well, Andrea, there's lots of ways for kids to get involved. We have lots of different entry points throughout the year. So we have our traditional programming, which starts in the springtime, and that is for basically 5-year-olds and up. And our league competition runs throughout the summer. And really, it's just like any other rugby club throughout the world. You just sign your child up and bring them along, or they come through school programs to land at the club, depending on their age. We also have camp programs that we run throughout the summer. So you could, if you wanted to just put your toe in the water, you can do a 1-week summer camp for kids focused on rugby. Now, this summer camp is probably more slip and slide and capture the flag and those types of things than it is rugby. But, the rugby is still the core part of it. So kids end up leaving the summer camps going, oh my goodness, I don't know what rugby is, but I love it.
Exactly.
So I want to come on back. But we have lots of entry points all the way through, from mini rugby all the way up through junior, and we even have adults like any other rugby club coming along in their 20s as well.
Okay, so to that point about the camps, so camps, if you don't know about it and you haven't checked out my other videos about summer camps in Canada, it is a thing. Your kids go to summer camp. So over the summer, which is a long period of time, kids often do different things, from football, skating, like you name it, outdoor stuff. They do lots of camps. And so the rugby camps here are amazing for boys and for girls, so you want to get involved. And so, yeah, I know. I've seen the little kids rallying around here. I've got beautiful photos on my blog about it. Very, very exciting. I know that in Canada we have 15s rugby, we have 7s rugby, we even have 10-a-side. Tell me more about how that works.
Well, let's do this. Let's go through how the year looks in
Okay.
terms of our scheduling, and that might help people wherever they're listening to this. So in the
Yeah.
wintertime, it's a lot of academy programs and a lot of indoor skill-based stuff. We do some touch leagues, those
nice.
types of things. And then as the weather warms up, we move into what we call our 10-a-side season. So we'll do a few weeks of 10s, and we find 10s is really inclusive because it includes both forwards and backs. So 5 forwards, 5 backs, and we'll do some tournament style competition for 10s. And that we generally do while schools rugby is transitioning out and club rugby is transitioning in. And that way we're not putting pressure on each other's numbers. We then move into our 15-a-side season, which runs at the junior level from the beginning of June, from the seniors April, all the way through to the end of the summer. And that's your traditional rugby, or rugby, as those of us who've been in the sport for a while would recognize it. And then on the junior level in the fall, we'll do 7-a-side competitions. And we do 7s in the fall because that's when hockey starts, that's when other indoor programming and sports starts. So there's more competition for the athletes at that time of year. Numbers become a little bit scarcer. So for us to have robust competitions, we scale back to a 7-a-side format. So, beginning of the year, it's touch and indoor academy stuff. Then we have 10-a-side competition. Then we have 15s throughout the summer. Then we do some 7s in the fall. And then we take a bit of a break and then roll into the winter programming again.
Touch rugby is interesting. In South Africa, touch rugby, no shoes. How does that work in Canada? Do all the South Africans rock up here with no shoes?
I knew you were going to ask me about this, and it is a point of discussion here at the club, but it's a lot of fun. We do have a lot of folks from SA here at the club, and they are drawn here when they move, and which is great. It adds a lot to our club. But yes, they do run any chance they have. They do take their shoes off and then they run around and in their bare feet and play some touch rugby. It's not a Canadian thing, but it's all good. We are starting to see some Canadian converts to the no shoe style of rugby. But maybe this year once the snow melts, I'll give it a go myself. But please bring cleats.
Exactly. No, 100%. Bring your cleats, guys. I get a lot about the summer camps, and that's all for a lot of fun. Maybe drill down a little bit on the actual individual categories. How does that work? Like U16, U18?
Yeah, so as you said, our mini rugby program is focused on mass participation, getting as many kids involved in the sport, having a lot of fun, freezies, braai, barbecues, etc. When they get to be about 14 years old, 15 years old, the players do start to expect more in terms of development. So we do provide that. So not only do we have our Winter Academy program and our robust summertime competitions, we run skill development camps, whether they're kicking camps, scrum camps. We do a varsity skills camp. We do a boys and a girls version of rugby and leadership program. We do increase the number of training days a week as they hit the junior age, from 1 for the really little ones for training, 2 as they get older, and then 3 as they hit the juniors. We do a strength and conditioning program to really help out those kids who are interested in representative rugby and moving on to senior club rugby as they get older. So there really is a set out development program based on age, and it's very age appropriate. Recognizing that the kids have lots of choices with their time, but at the end of the day, we want them to feel like they can develop here as rugby players and play anywhere in the world after leaving here.
2 things that you mentioned, Kevin, that I want to talk about: women's rugby, and the other one is, what is the path for kids that want to go to the next level with their rugby?
Okay. So let's talk about women's and girls rugby first. So very, very popular here in Canada. Almost 30% of our club is actually female players.
Wow.
And right from a very young age. And the summer camps are a great entry point as well for girls to give it a try. Canada has a very good national 15-a-side program for women's rugby and a very good 7-a-side team. They've had some success. So, there is a great infrastructure below that in terms of leagues, in terms of a university competition. That's very, very good. So, we try and offer, we for sure offer equal opportunity and equal programming for the girls in terms of equipment, in terms of time, in terms of coaching, making sure the coaches have the same qualifications. We recognize that girls aren't, just men who look different, right? We coach them as young women. And but we also want them to develop as competitive, tough rugby players.
Yeah.
So we have a great program here, and I know we can do better. I know with girls sport we can all do better, but we're working really hard to make sure we have a great program.
It's amazing what is available in Canada in terms of girls rugby, and I know that the seven-a-side, they competed internationally, didn't they? And they actually did pretty well.
Yeah, our women's team won a bronze in Brazil. They probably didn't perform as well as they would have liked at the last Olympics.
Yeah.
But the Canadian government really supports our women's programs through the Own the Podium program. So
yes.
Own the Podium funds those sports and those teams that they think have the best chance of success.
Wow.
And that seven-a-side program has been identified by the Canadian government as a team that has a chance to win medals and compete every Olympic cycle. So they do get a lot of funding. They get a lot of support. And that actually trickles down even here in Ontario through development programs, through the Canadian Rugby Union and through Rugby Ontario. Those are very well funded, and we feed players into those who have aspirations to play for our national team.
What do kids need to do to get to the next level? How does it work?
Well, we think we offer a really good program here that kids can develop. My mindset is that not only teams here at the club, but other teams are built not necessarily through great structures or through great systems, but by putting 15 great players out on the field who have great individual skills. So here at the club, we focus very much on skills, pass catch, decision making, and that prepares kids well for that pathway that you referenced. So unlike other areas of the world, our identification is not necessarily made through leagues and competitions, but through identification camps.
Okay.
So Rugby Ontario would run a tryout camp, which could last several days.
All right.
And they'll create their own internal competition and try and identify players that way. The nice part about Canada is as compared to South Africa, for example, there are less players playing. So we have a lot of connections to the top end of the sport. There just are fewer.
Yes.
The community is a little bit smaller. So, players have a lot of opportunities to be identified by Rugby Ontario, by Rugby Canada through those pathway programs. They do have to put their hand up. They do have to say, okay, I want to put myself forward. I want to drive to these tryout camps as opposed to being selected. Okay. But there are lots of opportunities throughout the year for kids to put their hands up and be identified. From there, we work very closely with Rugby Ontario and with guidance from Rugby Canada in terms of the skills that they want the kids to learn, and we hope that they fall along to the pathway to achieve whatever it is that they want to achieve in the sport.
Yeah. So, have you had any of the kids come up through Oakville Crusaders and move internationally?
Yes, we've had a number, and some of them even come back to coach at the club. So we have former professional players who are coaching U8s or U10.
To that point, tell me about the South African kid that went to South Africa and played for the Free State Cheetahs.
Yeah, so recently we had a player. Now I will say this player was born in South Africa, immigrated here with his family, but grew up here in Canada and played his junior rugby here. And he spent a number of years here with Crusaders, had been identified as a Canada age grade player from our program through Rugby Ontario. Last year spent some time in Ireland, signed with Barcelona, right? And then they went down to Bloemfontein to play in the Toyota Challenge last November, December. And he played against the Free State Cheetahs and then the Kenyan national team in that competition.
Amazing.
And that player is now just flown out to Victoria to play with our Pacific Pride, our national team development program.
Oh, that's out in BC.
He'll spend the next couple of years doing that.
So you see, there's amazing opportunity. That makes me so happy.
It's a world of opportunity for everyone.
Let's talk about the pathway again for kids that want to take rugby to the next level.
So if I were to compare the pathway to what the rugby pathway might be in South Africa, I would say in Canada it's probably a little bit less busy. The sport is just a little bit smaller. So there's lots of opportunities for kids to advance with their rugby, whether that's through scholarships at university or college or to our national team programs. As I said, the sport's just a little bit smaller. So players are identified through our club, through our league competitions and tryouts by Rugby Ontario, and then they're put forward through to Rugby Canada. But the Canadian U18 coach is here on a regular basis, whether it's just watching games or coaching against our club. We have good relationships with university and college programs who offer scholarships to players. Nice. So, there's really are a lot of opportunities through the pathway. And then at the end of the day, our senior club competitions, our amateur club competitions, they're really, really good. So anyone from anywhere in the world can come here and play senior club rugby and get a really, really good game. So, we're very proud of the rugby that we offer here in Ontario, and we really feel strongly that players can develop here. They can develop to be very, very good players here.
So I think a very interesting question that people would want to ask or want to know is, are there differences in rugby in South Africa versus Canada? So your kids come over, you've been playing rugby all the way through high school. When they get here, are there big differences for them? What have you noticed?
Some differences are bigger, and then some of them are more subtle. So some of the bigger differences would be in South Africa, because I've had a chance to watch some of the school competitions over there. They're wonderful. They're wonderful, and I see the rivalries that date back 100 years and how much it means to local spectators watching and people involved in schools. We have that type of competition through ice hockey, so that's our culturally important sport. Here the club competitions are probably stronger than the schools. So the schools would normally feed into the clubs, who tend to be a little bit stronger here. So that would be one obvious difference that a South African family would notice is, the school. There are some wonderful rugby playing schools here in Canada, and then there's a number of them who are still developing. So our leagues on the school side are a little bit uneven.
I have to agree with you there. Yeah.
Some of the less obvious differences would be, because we're a club-based system, kids have lots and lots of choices, throughout the summer for them to spend
doing
their time
different sports,
doing different activities.
Yeah, okay.
There's literally 100 different things that they could do in terms of sports, in terms of activities. So, keeping that in mind, we probably coach the kids a little bit differently here than they do in South Africa. So in the South African school system, of course, as we've discussed before, there's a headmaster, there's a director of rugby, there's a coach. So there's a lot of hierarchy that the kids and that they respect. And when they come here, it's yes coach, no coach, and they're very formal. Canadian kids wouldn't have had that same upbringing in sport that their South African peers have. Yeah. So the adjustment is that it's a little bit more informal. It's a little bit more of a teaching mindset. Okay. It's a little bit more player driven, and the players communicate very freely with the coaches on their idea of their development and gameplay, etc. But at the end of the day, we get the kids to the same place. It's just a little bit different, and I think that a South African family would notice that difference, right away. But at the end of the day, it still works. Tell
me a little bit about tours. Does Oakville Crusaders get involved with doing tours, having countries come over?
Well, as the sport's a little smaller here, touring is essential. It's essential for us to go on tour, and it's essential for us to be great hosts and receive incoming tours. So in the last number of years, we've toured the UK as part of the World Cup trip. A few years ago, we've gone down to the Tropical Sevens in Orlando. But most of our tours are weekend tours. So we'll head up to Ottawa, we'll head up to Kingston or Montreal, and we'll take the kids up there. And just like most rugby clubs, it's always great to get away and get on tour and bond and spend that time together. Yeah. We're very, very lucky. Toronto's a great city. Oakville's a great town. We get a lot of people who want to come here on holidays, so there's a lot of incoming tours. And those tours come from New Zealand in the last few years, Scotland, Wales, the UK. We have a very good record against incoming tours. We're very, very proud of how we play when touring sides come in here. So it's very much for us a benchmark of where we are in terms of our development. Are we developing the right type of players who play the right way, who can make decisions on the field, who can play aggressively? And those tours are a wonderful litmus test for us as coaches to say, okay, are we doing a good job? And that performance is a great example of whether we are or not. So we welcome those tours, and we think we're good hosts too. We have a great time.
Yeah, it makes me excited and super proud. Like, that is so, so great.
Yep, we're very proud.
Kevin, I know there's a huge South African contingency here, and I think actually an international flavor. Tell me more about that at the club.
Yeah, there have been a lot of South African families move to the area, and of course, one of the first things that many of them do is to come here and sign their kids up for the rugby or to play rugby themselves. So that's been wonderful, and we do have a very international flavor. So a lot of families coming from Argentina and Chile lately too. Wow. Yeah, so Argentina, Chile, South Africa, Australia, few Kiwis. Of course, because we're so relatively close to the United Kingdom, lots of people from over there. So
Wow.
it's a wonderful atmosphere. It helps obviously our development and our coaching programs.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of banter. It really adds to the social element of the club. I'll give you an example. Is we've started to do events here at the club that cater to those communities. So South Africa specifically, the last World Cup final, this place was just chock full of South Africans watching the final. For the Lions tour last year, we had the clubhouse was full, and then we'd set up television screens in the beer garden, and people were enjoying it outdoors and enjoying the nice weather. And just a wonderful atmosphere. It brings the broader community together, you know, through a sport that they love, and it adds a lot to the culture here at our club. So we enjoy it very much.
So if you're looking for a brandy and Coke, you're not going to find it here. It's not a big thing in Canada. You'll have to drink the beer in the pub. Come and support the Oakville Crusaders. If you're not in somewhere close to the club, take a day trip, come out and come and see us. Come and meet Kevin and all the people here. Come and watch the kids play. It's such an amazing vibe, and it's just really great. So the Crusaders Club have an Instagram account. In fact, they have a few. So look in the description for all the Instagram accounts. They also have a YouTube channel. Go and have a look at that. So from cauliflower ears to rucks and mauling, it's been a great day with you, Kevin. Thank you so much for your time.
It's been a lot of fun.
It's been good, and I'm so glad we got the lowdown on all of the rugby and how it works at the Oakville Crusaders Club. Come and join us. Come and visit the club. I look forward to summer here.
Yeah, and don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel and this video. All right, where would the bell be? Right around here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks again.
Awesome. Thank you.